Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of The Spark. I'm Coach David, your mental performance mastery coach. Hope you're doing great on today. Hope that you are getting after it on today and hope that you have come in ready to hear something that's going to help you, that's going to strengthen you, and that's going to take you to another level. I am very glad and very happy to be able to do this each and every week. Come on and share something with you that's going to inspire you and take you to a whole new level in life. After all, you are the architect of your life, which means this right here. You get to design, build, and live the life you want. And as I always say, since that is your choice, and since you have, the right and the choice to do that, you might as well make it great. And that's what we're going to do on today. Today, we're going to go right back into that mental trap series. This is actually lesson number 4 in the mental trap series that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. Those mental traps that keep you bound, that keep you hindered. And as I said on last week, it's kind of hard to get out of jail if you don't know you're being trapped in jail. So what I want to do is expose these mental traps. Then I want to give you something that's going to help you go to a whole new level and take you to a whole new height. Let me ask you a question real quickly. Why is it that people wait until they feel motivated to do something or motivated to work out, they feel confident to speak up or speak out, or even they get to a point where they have to be inspired to do something new? Why is that? Well, here's what it is. Here's the problem. Our feelings are terrible leaders. They really are. What we are doing, we have to have this need to feel ready before we act. And that is a very big mental trap. As a matter of fact, I think it's one of the ones that is most overlooked in life today, is that need to feel ready before we act. I want to help you with that. I want to give you some strategies on today. As I say, our feelings, yeah, they're real, but they are terrible leaders. Are our feelings always reliable? No, they're not. Our feelings often reflect certain things in our life. It could reflect comfort zone living. It could reflect fear. It could reflect fatigue. It could reflect uncertainty. It could reflect bad habits that we've developed and formed. And what it's actually doing is causing us not to live our very best. So what we want to do, we want to understand this trap. We want to understand why it's so dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Well, now, I know that many times when somebody says, hey, I'm waiting for this, or I'm waiting to feel this, I'm waiting, like let's say, for instance, I'm waiting to feel more confident before I do this or before I act. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time confidence was derived, or you attained confidence from waiting? I want you to think about that. When was the last time that happened? Because this is what I understand. Confidence comes from, number 1, taking action. Number 2, surviving the discomfort. And we're going to talk about that discomfort today. Surviving discomfort. And then number 3, seeing and collecting and gathering the proof that you can handle it. That's where confidence comes from. If you really want to drill down on it and look at it, confidence comes from what you know. And the only way you're going to know is to go out and take action. When you take action, is there going to be some discomfort? Oh, yeah, there may be discomfort in that. However, I understand this right here, that if I will see my way through that, now I have proof. Now I have an understanding of what is possible for me, what I can accomplish. And so what I want to do, I want to give you these strategies on today. As 4 of them that I want to give you that I believe will help you. So when you get to this point of where you say, I need to feel ready before I do this, I'm going to give you something that's going to help you to overcome that in such a way that you feel ready right now, here today. And even if you don't feel ready, you can still go ahead and act. So here's the strategy. Number 1, I want you to begin to replace your feelings with standards. What does that mean? Well, a feeling is nothing more than an emotional response. When you have a feeling about something, that's an emotional response to a situation, to an experience, to some event. That's all it is. It's an emotional response. But a standard, on the other hand, is the behavior, the actions, and the expectation that I have committed to, that I'm going to live through regardless of how I feel. Oh, yeah. So it's not a matter of, do I feel like it? The question is now, what is my standard? The standard does not care how I feel. And that's really important. We have to get beyond that. The standard doesn't feel like doesn't act like or seem like or care whether or not I'm ready. The standard says I do these things because it is the standard. Let me give you an example. Athletes practice not because they feel like it, they practice because that is the standard. If an athlete chooses to practice only when they feel like it, there's going to be many days they're not going to feel like it. And yes, you can get beyond your feelings. Yes, you can. You have to make a decision that I am going to lead my feelings. My feelings are not going to lead me. And when you make that decision, now you have to establish a standard. The standard is, this is the guide, this is the rule, this is the measurement, if you will, that I live by. And regardless of how I feel, this is my standard. I don't care if it's cold. I'm still going to get up and get out on the road. I don't care if it's blazing hot. That's okay. I'm going to take water. I'm still going to get out there. I don't care if my legs are sore. Well, when I get out there, my legs will begin to loosen up and the soreness will begin to ease. The point is that I'm making is this right here. You have to have standards in your life, because if you live by your feelings, you're going to be tossed to and fro. You're not going to do the things that you need to do if you just live by your feelings. How many times have you not felt like getting up and going to work? How many times have you not felt like cooking dinner for your family? How many times have you not felt like going to the gym and working out, but yet and still you made a decision? I have a standard and I am going to do that. I am getting up, I'm getting myself dressed, I am going to work. Not only that, I am going to cook dinner for my family. I don't even feel like eating it, but I am going to cook anyway. And you know what? I'm sore. I'm tired. I've been in the gym 3 days this week, but you know what? My standard is that I go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week. So guess what? I am going to live by that standard. I'm not going to live by my feelings. So number one, you got to replace your feelings with your standards. Here's number two. Number two, I call it the commit 5 rule. What? The commit 5 rule. In other words, when I don't feel like it, and that shows up sometimes in my life too, I have determined that I'm going to commit 5 minutes to getting it done. Why do I commit just 5 minutes? Here's why. Pay attention. Here's why. I commit 5 minutes because I understand this right here. It is the start that stops most people from starting. So if I say I'm going to commit 5 minutes to this, I have now gotten started. And as I share with you, one of my mentors taught me this, and I live by this. You get more on your way than when you first start. So you may not feel like doing it when you first start, but if you commit, I'm going to do it for 5 minutes, you're going to see that your feelings change and that you're going to see that your actions change. And here's a real key thing I'm going to talk about a little bit later on. Here's what's going to happen. Your feelings are going to follow your actions, not the other way around. Motion creates motivation. That's right. Not motivation creates motion. A lot of people say, well, when I feel motivated, I'm going. What if you never feel motivated? What if you don't feel motivated? You get more on your way than when you first started. Just commit to 5. Okay. I don't feel like walking today. My legs are sore, calves are sore, back is sore. Guess what? I'm going to commit 5. I'm going to walk for 5 minutes. And what I find when I walk for 5, it's easier to walk for 10. When I walk for 10, it's easier to walk for 15. When I walk for 15, it's easier to walk for 20, and so on and so on and so on. Commit to 5. That's all you got to do. 5 is such a small number. Commit to it and watch great things happen. The commit to 5 rule. So far, I've told you, you got to change those feelings and operate by standards. Commit 5. Here's number 3. You're going to love this one. Proof over positive thinking. I'm going to say that one again. Proof over positive thinking. You cannot think your way to confidence. A lot of people try. Well, you know what? I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to think about it and I'm going to get confident and I'm going to go out and get it done. Confidence is not built by thinking. Confidence is not built by saying affirmations. Confidence is collected and built by evidence. The evidence comes from doing, not thinking. And so if you're going to do it the right way, now I know what I'm thinking. This just popped in my mind. There's a book called Think and Grow Rich. So many people get that book. I have a couple of copies of it. Many people get that book and say, if I just sit back and think, I'm going to grow rich. You don't understand that book, okay? Just like I didn't understand it when I first got it. Think and Grow Rich means this right here. You're going to think of something and then you're going to go and do action behind it. If you read the 6 steps in that book, I'm telling you, action is in there. That's the way you get confidence. You get confidence from taking action and seeing that you can accomplish this. And once you accomplish it, you start moving forward. Remember, confidence is collected and built by evidence. Evidence comes from doing, not thinking. Boy, that's a good one. So here we go. Now what we're going to do, we're going to remove the feelings and we're going to go with the standard. We're going to commit to the 5 rule. Then after that, we're going to have proof over positive thinking. In other words, we're going to go get something done. And then here's number 4. And this one may shock you a little bit. You should expect discomfort. What? Yes. Discomfort does not mean something is wrong. Now, let me clarify. I am not talking about discomfort from pain or injury or somebody abusing you. That's not what I'm talking about. Discomfort is the mental, emotional, and physical uneasiness that you experience when you are doing something difficult, when you are doing something unfamiliar, when you're doing something challenging, and even when you're doing something important. Listen to me and listen closely. There is discomfort. There is mental, emotional, and physical discomfort. I'm going to give you one of them. Mental discomfort comes like I have never done this before. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm getting ready to step out here on faith, as we say. The emotional part of it is like, I don't know. I could be putting my feelings out there for somebody to walk on them. That's discomfort. Okay. Or the physical discomfort, like, you know what? I lifted 100 pounds, but I don't know if I can lift 10 pounds. This might be a little bit uncomfortable. The uneasiness. This is what you experience when you are doing something difficult. This is what you experience when you're doing something that's unfamiliar to you, or maybe challenging you, or even something that is important. But discomfort does not mean that something is going wrong. Discomfort does not mean I need to stop. Discomfort means I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm being stretched beyond my comfort zone. And that's what a lot of us need to do. We need to get out of our comfort zone. We need to be stretched. It means I'm doing something that matters. And that's why it's a little bit uncomfortable. And that's okay. Because you got to ask yourself this question. What am I experiencing? What am I gaining by this discomfort? What is this telling me? It tells me I'm growing. It tells me I'm learning. It tells me I'm advancing. So if I can just take the understanding of that I am going to be stretched out of my comfort zone and I'm going to get into discomfort, that's going to mean a lot. I know a person who used to always, when we would run, they would say, I'm not getting out of my comfort zone. I'm going to stay right here in my comfort zone. I'm not running past my comfort zone. And I used to share with them. I said, you're not going to get faster. You're not going to get stronger. You're not going to do that until you get yourself out of your comfort zone. Listen. I want you to catch this right here. If you have the need to feel ready before you act, that is like saying, I'm going to wait till I get strong before I lift weights. You got it backwards. You start lifting the weights and you get stronger. You start acting and your feelings are going to follow. Excuse me. Your feelings are going to follow your action. Elite performers have a standard and they follow that standard. So I'm going to encourage you that you follow your standard. First of all, you got to have one. Get you a standard, follow it, and over time, your feelings are going to begin to follow your actions and your standards. Boy, I hope this one has helped you. This is a serious but overlooked mental trap. The need to feel ready before I act. I'm going to act, and my feelings are going to line up to my actions. If you do that, I promise you, and I commit to you that you're going to see a very, very important dynamic change and a lot of growth in your life. Well, listen, I've said enough on today. I hope you'll share this with somebody and let them know that, hey, Coach David is giving us something that's going to take us out of these little mental traps that keep us bound up. And sometimes we don't even know we're in jail until somebody tells us we're in jail so we can get free. So that's what I'm doing for you. Listen, have a great week all week long. Do your very best in everything that you endeavor to do. Don't wait to feel ready. Let's just get going. I want to encourage you on that on today, that you just get out there and get after it day by day by day and watch great and wonderful things happen in your life. Listen, I'm Coach David. Listen, I'm Coach David. You are the architect of your life, and I believe in you. I'll see you on next week. You're a great one. Bye.